This isn't your average podcast. This is the Jersey Oddcast, where oddcasters do their thing and oddballs come to play. With Joseph F. Berenato, Gabriel J. Donio, and me, Gina Rullo. We saw white smoke way sooner than I thought we were going to last week. I know you and I, Joe, were talking about it, and boom, it happened fast.
Yeah, I don't even think the conclave was in play for a full 24 hours, was it?
It might have been, was it 2 days? Not even, I don't know. There was several ballots, but we welcomed Pope Leo XIV, formerly Cardinal Robert Prevost, who is from Chicago, and I would like to say, more importantly, a proud 1977 Villanova graduate,
Here we
like
go.
me, like me.
Kind of
There we
makes me wish I took them up on their acceptance letter.
I wish you had too. You'd be insufferable like us.
Yeah, it's good. Look, we said everything would be on the table,
Yeah,
and we
and
said it
but
could be,
no,
it
and
could happen. But did we really think an American Pope?
no,
Probably not. But we said it could happen.
I said
And
and I swore up and down that I would never see an American pope in my lifetime, and I was wrong. Particularly not one who knows what Wawa is, and who may very well, considering that he was a Catholic just outside of Philly, may very well have attended the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. Who knows?
it seems like not a huge stretch, but we can't prove that.
No, we
it's
can't prove it. But
exciting. It's just an exciting time. The Augustinians are over the moon. If you think about it, we are fortunate enough to have St. Augustine High School just down the street from Hammonton. They're ecstatic. Villanova is just over the moon because they're doing really well. They're known for their athleticism in some areas. I think there's 3 guys from the Knicks who are Villanova graduates, and now they have a pope. They're like, "This is it. We're done. We're good."
Yeah.
can you imagine being on his reunion committee? They've got their 50th
Yeah.
coming up. Do we invite him? Do we not invite him?
Depends on what.
He's going to make the rest of us look like slackers.
Yeah. Imagine you're a guy. I'm the CEO of a tech company, and he's the Pope. I mean,
I'm
it
the
does.
pope.
But what a feather in the cap of Villanova University. It doesn't pain me that much to say it because I think it is a remarkably cool thing. In addition to being wild that it's an American Pope, then to say, oh, yeah, and by the way, you went to Villanova.
I think
Like,
more
pretty
wild to
amazing.
me is that your brother actually met with him while he was in his cardinal role a couple of
Yes.
months ago. I had
Mhm.
the opportunity
Yeah.
to speak with Father Frank Donio about it, and he said that they met in March. It was a meeting with Pope Leo XIV, then Cardinal Prevost, and Prevost was the head of the dicastery of 4 bishops, the executive committee of the Conference of Major Superiors of Men. They met with him for about an hour in March in the Vatican. The Conference of Major Superiors of Men represent the heads of male religious orders in the United States, and they meet with various officials at the Vatican every other year. They
Hmm.
talk about different concerns of male religious. The new pope is a past leader of the Augustinians for the Midwest province and for the whole world. According to Father Frank Donio, he understands the issues of religious, but his office vetted bishops for around the world and also addressed issues with them. According to Father Frank Donio, Cardinal Prevost, what he was known at that time at their meeting, listened carefully, was prayerful, not rushed, and gave thoughtful, informed responses. The group met with him for about an hour, and then they took a photograph together, which is on Father Frank's social media. And according to Father Frank, he was very gracious, down to earth, welcoming, and kind. And Gabe, you said that too. When you saw him come out on the balcony, you said he had a very specific smile and look on his face.
It was beneficent. He was, if you think about it, I saw somebody who was at peace with the role he was in. He almost looked, and this in the best sense, of I know I'm the CEO of this particular organization and I'm fine with it. I'm comfortable in the role. I know I'm going to do well in the role. He wasn't overconfident, but he just seemed to me like somebody who was ready to serve as the next pope. As far as my brother goes, I couldn't be prouder of him. You think about it, like Joe said at the reunion, you're like, oh, I did this and I did that. My brother has met, let's see, Pope Francis twice, and now this future pope at the time in March once. And you think to yourself, and it wasn't like it was some huge number of people in the room. or at each meeting. So you think to yourself, this is a guy who was, on Joe's point, my brother Frank grew up as an altar boy at St. Joseph's Church with the Palatine Order, became the provincial of that order, did go to all the Our Lady of Mount Carmel, the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and now he's meeting popes. That to me is mind blowing. And
And
I,
has a degree from Villanova.
yes, and Catholic University was his undergraduate and graduate as well.
And
And
he's got his doctorate,
Frank's,
but I'm just saying there's a master's degree in there from Villanova.
I just think it goes to show that you just think to yourself, you can grow up in Hammonton and you can do amazing things.
Yeah.
And I think you don't have to leave Hammonton to do amazing things. But Father Frank, his case as a missionary, part of a missionary order, the Palatines, he's been all over the world and he's met with amazing people. And now this latest meeting in March with the future Pope and the current now Pope. It's amazing. And like I said, my family couldn't be more proud of him. That's for
Justifiably.
sure.
Yeah, justifiably.
Joe, what did you think when they announced the new pope? What did you read? What was your first impression when you saw who it was?
I was shocked, absolutely shocked that we had an American Pope. And what I like is that, yes, he was born in Chicago. He went to Villanova. If I'm not mistaken, the vast majority of his ministry has been in South America. And I believe he holds dual citizenship between the United States and, is it Peru?
I believe you're right,
So
yes.
he's not just an American Pope. He's not a South American. He's a Pope for the Americas, for the entire Western Hemisphere, all
Yeah.
wrapped up in one individual. He's native English speaker, which is a first. He's a polyglot. He speaks several languages. He was appointed by Pope Francis recently in 2023, and I believe a lot of his views align with those of the late Pope. So it'll be interesting to see that the direction that the Vatican takes. But I was happy, and the more I read about him, the more I like the man. And again, he went to Villanova. He's familiar with our area. He knows what we like. He probably is an Eagles fan, and if he's not in my head, he's an Eagles fan. So we'll take that.
Brothers say he's a White Sox fan when it comes to baseball.
Yeah, I just saw a video earlier of the Cardinal at the time. I think he was still a bishop at the 2005 World Series when the White Sox won out of nowhere, and it had a picture zoomed in right on him in the stands. So he's definitely a Sox fan.
Maybe it was divine intervention when they won.
Hey, they
Could be,
kind
like
of needed
ahead
it.
long ahead, 20 years ahead of time.
His brothers have made a real humanizing effect, I think, on the news cycle of this, because when they talk about him, it's their brother. He's not
Yeah,
just this very large religious figure. He's their brother, and he does Wordle with them, and they talk about the White Sox and family issues.
yeah. When Francis was elected Pope, was he Cardinal Bergoglio? Was that his name? We didn't see his family. We didn't see Cardinal Ratzinger's family when he became Benedict the 16th. This is cool.
It's a very American thing, I think.
Yeah.
And
Bob's the Pope. Yeah.
and the analogy also is, and I don't mean this in a derisive way, but it's like being the brothers of the president over the years.
Yeah.
And you'd interview like them and get their view on things, that sort of thing. It's a lot more familiar than the other things. I want to note the name Pope Leo the 14th harkens back to the last Pope Leo, who was Leo the 13th, and that had his tenure from 1878 to 1903. If we look at that, this gentleman is 69 years old. There's a chance he could be Pope a long time. I'm willing. So
Interestingly, I believe that Leo the 13th was the very first Pope to be recorded in a motion picture.
okay, it's interesting. So there you go.
That is odd news, Joe, and we appreciate that here at the Oddcast.
That's what I do.
So we'll see what they often say. If you pick the name, that says a lot about the way you're going to run things as the Pope. So
Yeah.
we'll see as things go on.
Thanks. This is exciting stuff. Hammonton is also experiencing a busy year this year with so many good news, and this is the time to locate your life to Hammonton and its surrounding towns. And if you're looking to buy a home or a commercial property, who should people call, Gabe?
They should go no further than seeing Phil Carr at Crowley and Carr Real Estate, Gina. If you're looking to buy or sell your home or commercial property in South Jersey, call Phil Carr, owner of Crowley and Carr Real Estate. Crowley and Carr is the best place in town to find the best place in town. Call them at 609 561 0505 or go to Facebook or Instagram.
Thank you. Joe, I saw something on the recent school board agenda about land and parcels. Can you tell us what's going on?
Yes, I can, since you asked nicely.
Thank
There was a resolution on the agenda, as resolution number 15, resolved that the Hammonton Board of Education approve a proposal with MMPF Architects LLC Property Acquisition Project number 24.090 to facilitate the application process for the purchase of Block 2301, lots 12, 16, 17, and 18, pardon me, with an hourly fee not to exceed $7,500. Essentially, the parcels that are listed are either vacant land or farmland that surround the Hammonton Park condos on Fairview Avenue. According to school board member Luke Koya, it was their hope that they could maybe make a walkway or pathway or road from Fairview back to the ECEC, the Early Childhood Education Center, to allow a second area of ingress or egress and maybe alleviate some of the congestion on 4th Street. Because if anybody in town has tried to drive past the elementary school between 8 and 9 o'clock or between 2:45 and 3:15, there's no getting down there. However, as I understand, most of the parcels were too expensive. They are still looking at the property at 634 Fairview Avenue, which is the house in the middle of the middle school property, like around where I think that's the lacrosse fields over there. If they were to purchase that, then the plan would be to clear the ground, but keep the house, using it for office and storage space, hopefully moving the transportation department there, because right now they're in trailers that have no bathrooms.
It makes sense. I don't know in this economic climate if buying land is a great idea, but it's good that they're keeping an eye on it fiscally. They're saying this is too expensive and they're not just going gung ho for it,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
Yeah, the house on that Joe just described on Fairview is probably to me the most important purchase because it really does eliminate that gap in what the rest of that land is all the schools.
Yeah.
If you go from the Fairview Avenue up Liberty and all that, so I think that would complete that. If they did get that one, I know that's been talked about for a long time.
Yeah, and it would make complete sense. I was actually surprised to hear that they were looking to keep the building. I figured if they were going to buy the parcel, they would raise the whole property and then use that for athletic fields or whatever, but using it for extra storage and office space is not something I had considered, and I think it makes complete sense.
Yep.
There's going to be a third strategic plan meeting on May 19th at 7 p.m. at Hammonton High School in the cafeteria. It's just another way to get your voice out there, be heard, and have some sort of influence on what's happening next with our school district. Coming up in downtown is a new bake shop. I saw online that a young woman is looking to move her bakery to Horton Street in downtown Hammonton, which is currently the Chimney Brewing business. It's now going to be the bake shop. Her baked goods look flaky and delicious, and that's going to be a nice addition to the downtown. Have a little something to eat at Marcello's, and then you can decide if you want to go to Menino's or to the bake shop for dessert, or maybe you're getting something for your Sunday morning brunch. Just a nice new addition to the downtown.
Yeah, and for my money, we can never have too many bakeries or bake shops. I love baked goods. I shouldn't eat them, but I love them.
What's your
Yeah,
favorite, Joe?
Yes, all of them.
All?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's good.
I don't really discriminate. I like the standards. I like Danish. I like donuts. I like cinnamon buns,
Croissant?
sticky buns. Absolutely. Elephant ears. You name it, and I will probably try it and enjoy it. I
Good
don't
to admire
discriminate.
from a distance, right, Gabe?
Yeah, it's not for me per se. Nothing against the baked goods. Just from a medical standpoint, I'm not much on the baked goods. But
Gabe lives
I
a
mean, it
gluten-free life.
was Ideal Bakery was a great stop for many years. Vet's Bakery, great
Mm-hmm.
stop for many years. And that's all good. And just for the record, flaky and delicious also describes probably a decent percentage of the customer base of these places. I don't think it's just the baked goods themselves. And that's great. What's wrong with that?
What's
The
next?
Hammonton High School third annual book drive will begin May 12th and will run through June 2nd. Books for all ages accepted, except no encyclopedias or outdated reference books. Donate your new or gently used books to Hammonton High School. There will be donation bins located, I believe, in the media center. And then the book club will deliver the donations to Book Smiles, a nonprofit organization committed to sharing books with children and families in need. I love the idea of this, but getting rid of books is like breaking up with friends.
Yeah, what was the name of the woman who did the whole "if it does not spark joy, get rid of it"?
Oh, a condo.
Thank
Marie
you.
Kondo,
Yeah,
Gabe loved that
Really
book.
kind.
yeah, but
Yeah.
she suggested having something like no more than 30 books, and
What?
Yeah,
yeah,
she did. It's true.
yeah. You're
By
like,
one
what?
author?
I've got 30 books on one shelf behind me. No, in
Yeah.
total, no more
She
than
also
30
she
books.
yeah, she also said that if you didn't put your hands on it for 5 years, then you should just get rid of it. So I think that's probably true about a lot of people who we're friends with. Because I think at some point you get rid of them too.
You shouldn't be putting your hands on your friends anyway.
Handshaking, relax.
My mind went somewhere else, but
You
I'm
I'm
just
guys,
surprised
looking
they
at
don't
get
want
all
your
the books next to
get your
me.
heads out of the gutter.
and they don't want encyclopedias. Well, how else are these kids going to know who the last king of Siam was?
I don't know.
There's no more Siam, is there?
How would
Maybe that's why
Mrs.
they don't want them.
Pantalone feel about that? She sold all those encyclopedia sets
Was
for
she
so
one of
many
the ones
years.
that went around and sold like the world books?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We had those. Oh yeah.
Yeah, who didn't? All you oddballs out there in Hammonton, you go look on the shelf. I'll bet you have a World Book set of encyclopedias, and I'll guarantee you, Mrs. Pantalone sold that to you
And
or to your family.
how exciting was it when when the yearbook came out
Yeah,
every year,
right.
updating you with new stuff? Oh,
We had one with an atlas, something. But
Kids
no,
these
now
days will never
nobody
know
wants
the
this.
joy.
No, they don't want this stuff anymore. It's sad.
no. But and it makes sense. Encyclopedias become outdated very quickly,
Oh my
unfortunately.
gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I can understand why they wouldn't want them. And I think it's fantastic. If someone's looking to downsize a little bit, or maybe they haven't read a certain book in a while, absolutely donate it. Bring it there. Kids need books. Kids need to read.
Yeah, and
Let's
all of
spark
us are
some
avid
joy.
readers. Yes. All of us being avid readers, this is so important. The Mother Cabrini Lodge just opened up one of those little free libraries in front of the Masonic Lodge on Central Avenue. This is
Yep.
another way to get to donate your used books. I generally donate books by authors I really don't like. Someone gives me a book, I read it, I'm like, okay, we're never gonna read this again. Or I DNF a book, did not finish.
Really? Hmm.
Yeah.
Does that happen often with you? That you don't finish it?
I'm less patient now with books than I used to be.
Interesting.
I feel that.
I
That's
don't know that I would have gotten through the first Harry Potter book because the first 80 pages are such a slog, or were such a slog for me.
Really?
And I'm like,
No,
oh my
they
God.
are.
I'm like,
It
are you going
is.
to get somewhere?
That's widely noted that,
I
that the first 80 pages were somewhat like, why are we
I
doing this?
I didn't think so. I finished that book in 3 hours.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll never
wow.
forget. I made fun of my mother up and down the pike because she brought home a children's book, is what I thought of it. She's, what is this? She's like, oh, it's very popular. I'm like, Mom, you brought home a kid's book. So I made fun of her up and down. And then one night there was a thunderstorm, woke me up. I couldn't sleep. So I went downstairs. I saw the book on the table. I'm like, all right, I'll pass the next 5 minutes. This was at about 3 o'clock in the morning. 6 o'clock in the morning, I finished the book just as my father's coming down for work.
But you don't count because you like have the Mount Rushmore in your head of geekdom is like Batman, Harry Potter, Star Wars, Star Trek.
Yeah, but
Like
this
me,
is before
you
it was
read
Harry
all that
Potter.
stuff.
This
I mean,
was before it was a global phenomenon.
you're an avid consumer of all things quirky and geeked, aren't you? I would say.
What?
Yeah, look behind the man on his bookshelf. But
In order for Joe to keep his geeky title, he's going to need glasses. And where should he go?
Joe does a lot of reading, Gina. He does a lot of reading. He does a lot of reading of a lot of geeky stuff, which is cool because it's hip to be square these days. He needs to go to Hammonton Family Eye Care. See Hammonton Family Eye Care for routine and medical eye care for all ages, from glasses to eye exams and more. Visit Hammonton Family Eye Care at Peachtree Plaza, 80 South White Horse Pike in Hammonton. That's where I go for all my eyeglasses. You should too. Call 609-567-7479 or go to HammontonFamilyEyeCare.com.
Thanks, Gabe. Joe, one of the last things Pope Francis did benefited Hammonton, and that was the papal blessing, I would say, or however you want to call it, for the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel.
The
What is
canonical
going
coronation
Thank-
is the term, or the I don't remember if it's papal or pontifical coronation, but canonical coronation. That was, as we've discussed before, there was a petition that was made and was submitted throughout the town. The parish contacted the diocese and contacted the Vatican consulate, made its way to Pope Francis's desk, and he approved the coronation of the parish's statue of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. We did not know until recently when the actual coronation was going to take place, but sometime last week or the week prior, the parish received word from the bishop's office that Bishop Williams will be performing the canonical coronation at the 2 p.m. Mass on the 16th of July. And at that same Mass will be the premiere of the musical Mass that the parish had commissioned from composer Frank LaRocca. So that will be an incredible Mass to attend, because you're going to have a Mass written specifically for the parish, and you're going to have the canonical coronation of the parish's statue of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and afterwards, the bishop will be walking in the procession with the faithful.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
That's going to be a beautiful day in Hammonton.
So that is going to be just, I honestly can't think of a better way to celebrate the 150th, the sesquicentennial. Incidentally, last week or the week prior, when I spelled sesquicentennial, I left out the U. So my apologies. Yes.
Who called you
know.
on it?
Me, when I listened back, I'm like, oh my word, I left out the U. I hope nobody noticed. No one said anything. So I left out the U. But I think the only way that day could get any better is if you're listening, Holy Father, if Pope Leo XIV decided to visit his old stomping ground, stop by Villanova, and then come down here to partake in the procession. I think that'd be the only way that could possibly be any more special of a day. But
that's amazing. I'm looking forward to that. And the church has asked members of the community to donate no longer wanted jewelry and things like that to make the crown.
Yes.
So that'll be debuted too, I believe, then as well.
Yeah, the crown will be part of the coronation ceremony. Yes.
And that's from the donations from the parishioners. Again, July 16th this year is going to be very special. Plan your attendance accordingly. I've already taken off from work. I have it scheduled because I want to make sure I have the whole day to soak up everything that's going to happen.
Yeah, basically,
as have I.
Yes, if you haven't decided out there to make a pilgrimage, and that's what it is, the 16th of July, and I don't just mean one day that week, the 16th, come on down, Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, because I think it is going to be something like you've never seen before. And I don't think I'm overselling that.
No.
So I would tell people, if you picked one year where you said, is it worth it to come? This is that year. So 16th of July, 2025.
Particularly,
come to Hammonton.
Since if I'm not mistaken, in the entire history of the United States, I believe this is only the 5th canonical coronation in the United States.
Wow.
It's quite a big deal.
And Joe, there's going to be a special concert May 30th, just to keep the hype going.
May 30th at, I believe, 7 p.m. at St. Joseph's Church. The choir of the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception will be performing a Marian concert, and that is also where the hymn that the parish commissioned from Kathleen Pluth with music by Frank LaRocca will make its premiere. That is a free concert. They will be accepting donations, but all are encouraged to attend, and that choir is something extraordinary. It's not like it's me and a bunch of my friends. They are very good.
Another beautiful moment in town. Gabe, I can't help but notice the mug you're drinking out of today. Can you show it to everybody?
I sure can, everybody. We have merch, and let me show you the
There it
absolutely
is.
fun,
Ah, there we go.
fun
Oh, look at that cute
Jersey
little mug.
Oddcast logo and name on there. So if you want to help both make our merch known with t-shirts, hats, a mug, something fun just to have that's uniquely Hammonton.
Oh,
There's the
Joe's got
shirt.
the shirt.
There's
Thanks.
the shirt. And if you also want to help out the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, because what we're going to be doing until from now until July 1st, what we are doing is we're donating all the proceeds from all the
Profits.
merchandise, all the
Profits.
profits, sorry, all the profits. Let me make sure there's a distinction there. All the profits from all the merchandise sales to the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. And it's just a way of giving back to this 150th feast. And it's also fun. The hats are fun. Go online, check it out. Gina, I'm sure we'll put up a link where they can show you how to get it. And
And Joe can tell
we're
us what it is. What is the link,
yep.
Joe?
That link is jersey-oddcast.printify.me. So you go there and you can find all the good stuff.
Thanks, Joe. Coming up in June is another Coffee with a Vet. Coffee and Conversation with a Vet is what it's called. Food, games, and giveaways. This is being done with the DAV. It's going to be held on Hammonton Canoe Club on Friday, June 6th. It begins at 7 p.m. There is no entry fee. And this seems like something that is being held on a monthly basis now. I have not attended one, but it looks like the attendance is strong. People are coming out, having a conversation. And I think it's always good when you can bring people together of different backgrounds. Maybe someone is interested in joining the military. It's a good concept. I really like the idea of it.
Yeah, what I like about it also is that how do I want to phrase this? It brings more awareness, I think is the word that I want to use, to the veterans organizations in town. And it's my hope that those who have served, younger, 40s, 30s, 20s, who have served, maybe this might be an inroad for them to want to join the VFW, the American Legion, the DAV, because I know that those organizations have been hurting for younger membership.
Fair.
So hopefully these events not necessarily demystify the organizations, but make it a little bit more welcoming to continue to welcome future members because they're important organizations.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's a great part of our community. The veterans organizations have always been, I think, almost you rely on them to be there. Memorial Day, Veterans Day, in the parades, and in their respective headquarters as the Legion, VFW, and DAV. And they have tried to renew themselves and their buildings, I've noticed during the years. But I agree with Joe. The lifeblood is membership,
Yeah.
new membership. So hopefully this is a way for people to access these organizations and maybe get some of those people 40s and younger to get involved. I agree. Would be great because let's face it, the Grand Army of the Republic in Hammonton was here forever, decades and decades after the Civil War until it vanished.
Yeah.
And it can happen. Time marches on, but let's hope these new people come on and carry the banner forward.
In other news, the county announced some recent traffic plans, and one of those being work to be done on Fairview Avenue. The work was scheduled to begin Monday, May 12th, and it was going to continue for approximately 3 weeks. Fairview Avenue, between 3rd and 4th Streets, is going to be closed from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. each weekday, weather permitting. The county says motorists should follow the posted detour and plan travel time accordingly or seek an alternate route. Joe, you were just saying that 4th Street gets a little crazy during school's opening and closing, and now we're shutting down Fairview Avenue from 3rd Street to
Yeah.
4th Street during that time. I think it's going to get a little busier for the last few weeks of school.
Yeah, I don't know what other kind of projects the county highway department has, but I certainly would not have decided to close a major route for all of the schools in the last 3 weeks of school. That's
I'm sure
going
it's a timing
to,
situation with other projects, but it's gonna make it more
yeah,
difficult.
If you think of it, not just the school traffic, but it's an arterial road, a street, because from the White Horse Pike to Third Street or to Egg Harbor Road, you're going to take a portion of that street. You're not going to be able to get across town that
no,
way. So that's going to be a mess. So everyone should know from now, Fairview Avenue, that area, avoid it if you can, because it's going to be a mess once they block that off. You're saying between third and fourth.
yeah.
I guess the
So
school buses have
that's
to
that's going
reroute,
to go.
I'm guessing, right? School buses have to
Sure.
reroute?
I would imagine any students along that route, I don't know if they walk down one of the intersections or what they do. I don't
Yeah.
know how that's going to look, but
And you're talking about, Gina, how the buses get to the schools.
Yeah.
yeah,
We're going to have to take another route.
Yeah. Look, I'm grateful that our county is fixing up our roads and not neglecting them. I'm worried about the timing. That's all. You know what I mean?
Gina, did they say why they're doing that work?
They did not. I'm sure I can call our favorite commissioner, James Bertino, and ask him, but I didn't feel like torturing myself.
No, just call Denny. Go right over Jimmy's head. I
I
think,
don't,
and
I don't
I'm
like to
speaking,
bother
of course,
Denny.
of County Executive Denny Levinson. No, only because Fairview Avenue, my recollection is, was resurfaced 20 years ago, just about. Like they redid that roadway. I'm just wondering why they need to do it or
I don't know
what
what work.
needs to be done.
It's just
It
that
might
one
be
block.
underneath. Yeah, it might be utility work underneath the surface. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
it doesn't say. So we'll see what happens. But around the corner from 3rd Street, excuse me, from Fairview Avenue, if you want to plan your route, you'll take you by Marinella Funeral Home.
That's correct, Gina. And Marinella Funeral Home has been serving the community since 1962 and has been family owned and operated for 3 generations. Marinella Funeral Home provides individually designed burial, cremation, and pre planned funeral services to meet the needs of each family. Ask them about how pre planning provides true peace of mind to your family. Contact the Marinella Funeral Home, located at 102 North 3rd Street in Hammonton, at 609 561 1311.
Agriculture businesses are the lifeblood of America, and that is certainly the case in Hammonton. That's why I was excited to see that there is a newer farm that's operating in town. Founded in the early 1970s, the Red Barn Farm provided high quality fruits and vegetables to the local community for nearly 30 years. Now, the new White Barn story is one of tradition, family, and a deep love of the land. As the Penza family introduces Penza's Pick Your Own, they plan to bring additional agritourism to the North Hammonton community with brand new and the only orchard of cherry trees in Hammonton. And again, hopefully soon, they're going to have an orchard of chestnut trees. And it's time to bring back that winter tradition of roasting chestnuts at family gatherings. And this is on their website, whitebarnorchards.com. We happened to run into Tony Penza a few weeks ago at the
Brothers.
brother.
at Brothers Pizza. We were out to dinner, and he was telling us that they're also baking sourdough breads, and they have a beehive there for Castone's bees, so they're doing that as well, and that's the pollinators, you need them. So it's a nice story about bringing back farming in a different way to Hamilton. I love that.
And I like the mix of old and new here. The Penza
Yeah.
family has been in Hamilton many years, and I think it's nice to see them extending that tradition, just like we talked about with the veterans. You need to have new people come on. You need to have people get involved, next generations get involved for agriculture as well. So it's nice to see they decided, okay, we're going to do something with agriculture here in the northern part of Hamilton and continue those traditions.
And I know that what I am about to say may very well be heresy in the town of Hammonton. But it's nice to see a farm is not deciding to focus strictly on blueberries.
That is an outrage. No, I don't think
I
so.
no,
You know what you're saying.
I know it is, But there was a time when there was a wildly diverse set of crops coming out of the town of Hammonton. And like with anything over the years, it has whittled down. It's obviously not strictly blueberries anymore. We have quite a few farms that do a remarkable amount of fruits and vegetables. But it's nice to see that this farm, they're like, okay, we're going to have cherry trees. We're going to have chestnut trees. You know what? Let's have a little apiary. I like that. I think it's a great direction to go.
Yeah, and we're seeing that, right? Like that diversity a little bit coming back.
Yeah.
There's people doing different things, everything from what you just mentioned with White Barn to birdseed, and
Mm.
there's people doing different fruits and vegetables. And I think that's great because Hamilton remains strongly agrarian, really agricultural community still to this day. But it's nice to have a diversity because I still smile when I drive by a peach orchard in Hamilton and see that there's still a couple places where there's peaches. It's great.
In actual Hammonton, there are peach orchards still?
Well, that's a good question. Maybe on the fringe. I'm thinking Bluebird Farms, which is you're technically that is elm, I believe.
Yeah.
But
And then that's
elm,
technically
but
Camden, because I seem to
yeah,
remember when my cousins ripped out their peach trees years ago,
right,
they were the last peach farmer in Hammonton /
in
Atlantic
Hamilton.
County area.
Yeah, because
So,
there were some orchards in Folsom,
hmm,
peach orchards in Folsom, which I think are all gone now. I think near South Jersey Gas. I think there were some
yeah,
over there. You're right, but it's still nice when you go down the pike, even if it's just over the border. You see those pink peach blossoms,
they're
and
so
it
pretty.
kind of you just think to yourself, what the town must have looked like in the 30s and 40s or before, when it was filled with every conceivable acre had peaches on it, because they
Yeah,
called us the Peach City then.
sure.
So on your point, things change, but it's nice to see some diversification.
Yeah.
I saw online that a Hamilton resident, Mary Gillespie, thanked the highway department and specifically Scott Rivera and his crew, Mike and Andrew, for helping her out. She had an issue, she called it in, and they were there within an hour and they helped fix her issue. And it really made me think that, hey, our highway department guys are pretty amazing and we don't really say it enough. My trash gets picked up every week. And I've had times where, look, maybe they just didn't grab our toter or whatever. Our toter got busted and they fixed it. And it's so nice. And that is one of the nice things about living in a small town. You can call up the highway department. You know who Scott Rivera is, you know his team, and they just come on out, they do it, they fix it. And I don't think we say thank you enough to them because we forget and it's just in the background. So I love that Mary did a public thank you like that. I thought that was very sweet
Hmm.
and I wanted to mention it here.
It's nice that you did. I think there's an old saying that most people's only connection to municipal government is when their trash is picked up by the public works or highway department. And the only time that they think government's gone wrong is when it doesn't get picked up. And I think we should all say here on this program, and everyone, all the oddballs listening, thank you to Scott Rivera and his department. Are we calling it the Public Works Department or the Highway Department these days? I don't
I
know.
don't know. She had highway department in her post.
Yeah,
We
I
all
mean, it
know
was the
that.
highway. I always liked highway department, and I always
Yeah.
liked the red trucks of the highway department, which now got pushed aside for the white trucks. But that's a
Got
discussion.
whitewashed.
That's a discussion for another day. They do a heck of a job, a hard job that a lot of people don't want to do, mowing all the parks and doing all the different things that
It's
get done.
physically taxing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the roadways,
Yeah.
the
And putting
garbage.
the,
It's a
the
tough job.
the flags downtown, the Italian
Right.
flags everywhere, the
Right.
multicultural flags, that all falls on them. Putting up the decorations, that falls on them.
Yeah.
They do any street sign repair, replacement, or placement, that all falls on them. And then, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the DPW, they're also the ones that clean up the streets after parades and events, and they do it quick.
Real quick.
And yeah, like by
Like
midnight, you
Surf
have no.
Pro. They're Surf Pro for Hamilton. Like it never
Yeah,
happened.
I'm like they
Oh,
did
well, think
descend
about it.
like locusts, and everything is clean within an hour.
Think about it, guys. We keep talking about the Feast of Our Lady Mount Carmel. They pick up a lot of that trash
Oh
that week.
yeah, and they put
And
out the bins for it.
and you're talking
Or
about
last week
throughout
we
the
had
town.
what? 1,500 kids in downtown
Right.
for the Teen Arts Festival.
Yep. And you had
You
Hmm.
the
didn't know that the
barrels
next
out.
day.
You
No.
wouldn't even know. So people take it for granted sometimes. Don't. No, but I think we don't, because the three of us in our case, we had a front row seat to what they did and
Yeah.
understand it.
Yeah.
So I'll relay it this way to everybody. If you think it's easy, it's not. That
No.
Department of Public Works or that highway department is doing it every day and deserves every accolade. And I'm sure whatever funding they can get and salaries, because it's a critical part of municipal government, without a doubt.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If you want to bake them something delicious, you always can do that. And you can get those goods at Bagley Annie's Market. Gabe, can you tell us about our sponsor?
Gina, what can't you get at Bagley Annie's Market? I'm sure there's a couple things, but what you can get is unbelievable. At Bagley Annie's Market, they always say we treat our customers like family, with a variety of custom cut meats, farm fresh produce, delicious cheeses, a full deli, and more. Bagley Annie's Market has something for everyone. They are famous for their wide variety of authentic Italian specialty products. Try their Italian bread and rolls, prepared foods, and homemade pasta. Follow their social media for weekly loyalty reward promos. Bagley Annie's Market is located at 417 12th Street in Hammonton. Call 609 561 0693 or visit Facebook and Instagram for more information.
Thanks, Gabe. I was reading online in one of the social media groups that a new town clerk was hired in Mullica Township. The person that was hired was Monica Newton. And what stood out to me was that Monica, if I believe this is the same person, used to work for the town of Hammonton at one point. I believe in the clerk's office. She did some work with our Parks and Recreation. She was always very easy to deal with when we had the newspaper. And I was sorry to see her leave our municipality, but happy to see that she is going to be next door in Mullica Township. It's just one of those things to say, oh, okay, she was here and now she's there. And I do think our loss in that way is Mullica's gain, and we'll see how she does. But I just want to make a notation of that.
Yeah, we wish her well with that.
Yeah. I went to school with Monica back when she was Monica Perone 30 years ago. So
You should never disclose her age, and you just did that, Joe.
I'm no lady.
Are you calling
So,
Joe a lady?
No,
Okay.
but
boy.
no, I wish Monica all the best in the new position.
Another former Hamilton employee was hired back with the town of Hamilton. Gabe, can you give us a little insight in that?
It's funny to dovetail off the Monica Newton and this in Mullica. This is a little different than that. It's part time, according to Councilman Stephen Fragioni in the video of the April 28th Town Council meeting. As a result of a 5-2 vote in favor of a shared services agreement between Hammonton and Egg Harbor City, the town hired Jerome Barbario as a part time grant/project manager effective June 1st, contingent on speaking with Egg Harbor City and agreeing on a contract. According to his LinkedIn, Barbario is the city administrator/DPW superintendent of Egg Harbor City, Fragioni said as well. The agenda item was listed under the town clerk's report as, quote, approval of a shared services agreement with Egg Harbor City for a grant/project manager effective June 1st, 2025, end quote. Fragioni said Barbario would be working 8 hours per week for Hammonton at $65 per hour. When asked if there were any incentives, such as receiving a percentage of a grant in the amount of, say, $100,000, Fragioni said there were no incentives, but added he did not see the agreement. Fragioni said Barbario would be working on outstanding grant applications, ones that are already on the books. Barbario was a former councilman, public works manager, business administrator, and airport manager for the town of Hammonton.
Yeah, again, interesting news. Again, bringing that relationship together. Is this part of consolidation? Are we trying to fold in Egg Harbor City eventually? Are we looking to have more shared services? I don't know. I don't. I'm a big person of home rule, and to keep your government as close to the people as you can. I know you can't have a direct democracy with the number of people we have in our country, but
Hmm.
I don't like to see consolidation happening, especially in a town that's as independent as Hammonton and Egg Harbor City, too. They have quite a bit of pride of place, and I don't know that they're going to
Hmm.
want to see themselves folded into Hammonton or the other way around.
Yeah, I don't know that necessarily I can add to any of that. I'll agree with what you said. I think the whole concept of shared services agreements are rather interesting, and I'm not quite sure how I feel about them, truthfully.
Well, that's fine. How about some news from Oakgrove Cemetery? You guys had a nice little school visit.
We did. Mrs. Amy Taylor's honors biology classes came to the cemetery on, don't ask me to remember the date, last Thursday. And they were participating in the World Series of Birding, minor league edition, and which I didn't know was a thing. But throughout the classes, they identified 41 distinct species of birds, which I had no idea there was that kind of biodiversity there.
See
I mean,
that one of our oddballs is a huge birder, so this little segment is just for him.
then apparently Oak Grove is the place to be. We've got all those trees. I know towards the end of the day, the students were starting to get a little despondent because they weren't identifying as many as previous classes. But when it's earlier in the day, the birds are a lot more active. And then
Yeah.
as the heat kicks in, not so much. But every class identified species that previous classes did not. I had no idea that we had Baltimore Orioles there. So that was nifty. I knew we had vultures. I knew we had hawks, but just 41 distinct species. I didn't know we had 41 birds.
That's great.
And then what
Hitchcock would
else?
be proud.
And then what do you have coming up this weekend, Joe?
May 17th at 2 p.m., actually, we are holding a dedication ceremony for our Veterans Memorial. The memorial was originally erected in 1954 on ground donated to the VFW, and it was dedicated by Frank and Sue Bruno in memory of their son, PFC John Bruno, who was killed in action in Korea in 1953, on Flag Day, actually. In 2022, the monument was repositioned to become the centerpiece of a much larger memorial, complete with an engravable paver walkway. The whole memorial was constructed through grants of donation and time and materials from E.P. Henry, Site One Landscape Supplies, Scrabble Brothers, Peterson Monuments, and Garden State Grounds Control. And the
Nice.
family of John and Arlene Measley donated the flagpole. And so we're having dedication ceremony for it. And for every paper that was sold, $20 was earmarked for the VFW since it was originally on their land, and we are going to be presenting them with their first donation check at this dedication ceremony.
Oh, that's
And
gonna be
Joe,
really
that
special.
Yeah.
Joe, that's become a real focal point, hasn't it, for the cemetery? Whereas before, I feel like the monument it was there, but it wasn't really the focal point it is now. Are
Oh, yeah.
people seeing it that way?
People are absolutely seeing it that way. There were some people who had visited the cemetery their entire lives, had no idea the monument was there. And it was right by the building. You had to drive by it, but they just never noticed it. But now you can't miss it. You can see it from the pike, even at night, because with the flagpole, we have a light at the top of the flagpole, so the flag is never in darkness. It really has become something extraordinary to see.
That's great.
This weekend is also going to be busy at Batsto. There's a public Star Watch and an evening walking tour. The Star Watch is being organized by the West Jersey Astronomical Society, and they're going to have their telescopes out. The Star Watch begins at 8 p.m. At 8:30 p.m. In the Visitor Center auditorium, there'll be a comet demonstration, and at 9:30 p.m. there will be a laser-guided constellation tour in the telescope observation field. Super cool. For this month's Star Watch, Mars, shining in the constellation Cancer, will be the planet to see. Take a look at the asteroid Vesta, currently in the constellation Virgo, through one of the telescopes. The Big Dipper asterism of Ursa Major, the Big Bear, can be found upside down above Polaris, the North Star, as well. There's also going to be an evening walking tour, 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. And more information can be found online. Then on Sunday, May 18th, it is the Spring Antique Glass and Bottle Show at Batsto. As we know, South Jersey was a huge glass making site for the country. There's broken glass and glass shards in all of our areas, wooded areas. I think everyone always finds something and then they tumble it down. But this is a show of some of the most beautiful glass work you're going to see. You can bring there's items on display. You can also buy items. And this is Sunday, May 18th, 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. rain or shine. And of course, the Batsto Mansion will be open. Batsto is one of those little things that Hammonton has that really does set us apart. It's a treasure. And I don't think we go out there as much as we used to, Gabe. We used to go out there a few times a year. I think it's been a couple of years since we've been out there.
Yeah, I don't know why exactly. I think I've been out there actually once in the last 2 years, but I think you and I get there. Walking some of those trails is an issue, but I'd love to get back out there again when the weather's right. And so we always used to go over by the sawmill and the dam and the Batsto Lake. It's a nice area, and it was always fun to go in the mansion and their visitor center. So if you haven't been to Batsto in a while, go. It's another gem that's in our backyard. It's literally 10 minutes from where you're. If you're in Hammonton, it's 10, 15 minutes away. Not even. So check it out.
And it's amazing. It's amazing what a difference that 10 minutes makes. Have either one of you ever gone star watching out there, star gazing?
No.
We used to go a lot in high school and college back when Comet Hale Bop and Comet Hyakutake came around. And you can't see the stars nearly as well in the center of town as you can out there. Out there, you can clearly see the arm of the Milky Way. It's extraordinary what a difference 10 minutes makes. The skies are gorgeous. You can legitimately see into infinity. So if the skies are clear and you're of a mind, I'd 100% recommend going.
And another reason to go out there, like, there's a lot of people I know who are from different areas who hike a lot of the trails in and around Batsto. And if you're a hiker, I am not a hiker, but if you are a hiker, get out there and enjoy nature. It's beautiful. It is beautiful out there for sure.
This is a great week to go stargazing or to go to the bottle show. And if you have a collection that you need to protect with insurance, Joe, who should people call?
There's only one name in town to call, and that's Diversified Insurance. See Diversified Insurance for all your commercial and personal insurance needs. They are a value-added firm. They provide unsurpassed service, consult with you to determine your needs, and offer you a choice of insurance plans and programs. They are a value hunter who can find the best combination of coverage, service, and price. Contact them today at 609-567-7771 or visit their website at diversifiedinsuranceofnj.com.
Thanks, Joe. I saw that there's a movie prequel series that is casting in New Jersey, and they're looking for locals. And this is for the Friday the 13th prequel series called Crystal Lake. I know nothing about this movie series at all, other than the guy's name in it is Jason Voorhees, but it does not take place in Voorhees. And that is, that's my knowledge about this movie. If you want to be in a scary movie, why not?
It is a scary series. You know nothing about the Friday the 13th series at all. I think you know a little, right?
I know there's a mask, and this is not the one with Jamie Lee Curtis.
No, that's Halloween.
And then
there's also Freddy. A mask there, but that was an inverted William Shatner mask.
And then there's Freddy, but I don't know anything about his movies either. I feel like there's a whole genre of movies I never saw.
Freddy and Jason did actually meet in Freddy versus Jason, so
not a romance.
That was neat. No,
not a romance. That was Alien versus Predator. That was more of a romance. Not really.
Yeah, no. Jason Voorhees was a kid at Camp Crystal Lake who drowned when he was 12. In the first movie, his mother was taking revenge on camp counselors. The camp had been closed, I think, since Jason died, and then it reopened, and then Mrs. Voorhees was going around killing everybody, and at the end, Jason comes out of the lake, and then he's the star of the show for the next 817 Friday the 13th movies, including one of my personal favorites, Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, which
Are you kidding?
Honestly,
Are you pulling my
no,
Is that
leg?
like
hon-
the is that
no,
like the Muppets?
no.
Take
Legitimately,
that.
Jason Takes Manhattan, and I like it because it was absurd. Because okay, so there's a crazy guy going around killing people in Manhattan.
No.
Why is this documentary? What's going on here? It was the '80s. You remember? It happened a lot more back then.
Right.
But
Apropos of not nothing, it's not the big leap I thought it was going to be, because now I realize our odd poll is coming up and we're talking about horror movies. So there was a film in '02 that came out that was filmed in and around some of this area in Hammonton, called The 13th Child, which focused on the Jersey Devil and had Mr. Cliff Robertson in it.
Uncle
And Cliff
Ben,
Robertson, who played many things, was he in Flowers for,
Flower for
Algernon.
Algernon?
Yes,
and he played Uncle Ben in one of the Spider-Man iterations.
3 of them, 3 movies he played Uncle Ben. The Tobey
There you
Maguire
go.
films.
So
Isn't
you,
Robert Guillaume in that movie too?
I don't know if Robert Guillaume was, but Chris Atkins was.
Blue
So-
Lagoon fame?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my-
And I think they filmed at Kessler Hospital and a couple of different places.
Did that movie ever
And
really
so
come out?
It did come out. It did come out. It
Did
is
we
a
see
movie,
it?
and yes, we saw it. Oddly enough, in Voorhees, wink, Jason Voorhees. We
Yes.
saw it at the Ritz Theater, and he filmed. And Cliff Robertson is an Academy Award winner and was in Hammonton.
And
So
I
it's
can
not
I
no
can
joke.
I can confirm Robert Guillaume was in the film. I just looked it up.
Okay,
Yes.
so Robert Guillaume as well.
Benson?
Yeah. Benson.
And
Yes.
also Sports Night. Sports
Yes.
Night. Isaac.
Okay,
So great stuff. But I'm just saying that's not. It's just since you're making a call for filming Friday the 13th, where's that going to be? Is that around here that they're doing that?
they haven't really said, the article I read didn't really say where they're filming, but they're looking for people from this area, from New York, New Jersey. They want young people to play campers with natural colored hair, no highlights, no facial piercings or visible tattoos for the older people. And they tell you where to apply online, like Mama's Boy at gwcnyc.com. And
That seems legitimate.
I don't know. Again,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
really watch scary movies. The
It's
only
okay.
scary movie I've ever seen, really, I think, is Scream, and that wasn't that scary.
The
Yeah.
rhyme from you said before we
But is that
started
actually
filming. What's the rhyme from
Nightmare on Elm
Nightmare on Elm Street? You know that.
Freddy's coming for you, that thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That, you know that.
Is that in the movie, or is that a thing we all said as
Yeah.
kids?
Oh, it's in the movie.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm,
it's
I'm picturing
Oh.
those creepy little girls jumping rope.
Yeah, yep,
1,
jumping
2,
rope,
Freddy's
right,
coming
yeah.
for you. Yeah.
And Joe, what was the thing for Friday the 13th? There's a thing.
Yep, that was it. Anytime the counselors or the poor misbegotten children were walking through and
Right.
you just see something rustling off in the trees, you just heard,
Yeah.
and you knew that somebody was about to get hacked to death.
Slashed. Hence the name Slasher Pick.
Yeah,
But
good time.
I didn't watch a lot of that stuff.
No, you
What's
definitely do not.
Nah. What was
Yeah,
that?
I like horror movies. I like monster movies. I'm not so much a fan of the slasher genre, but I do love me some Friday the 13th. I really do.
See that?
God. Oh,
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
set your calendars. And if you want, let's talk about the community calendar, Gabe, of Rocco's Townhouse.
Rocco's Townhouse prides themselves on being a spot where everyone can meet and eat. Delicious appetizers, entrees, burgers, and more, along with a full bar and plenty of craft beers on tap. Remember, everyone meets at the Townhouse, 21 North 3rd Street in Hammonton. Call them at 609-561-9384 or visit roccostownhouse.com. Stop in Rocco's Townhouse during or even after cruising Main Street for a drink or dinner on Friday, May 16th. Downtown Hammonton will be packed with classic cars, music, games, and more. Also of note, don't forget May 17th is the concert on the grounds of the Mount Carmel Society. DJ starts at 5. The Golden Boys, Frankie Avalon, Fabian, and Tony Kono, start performing at 7:30 p.m. Attend the Makers Meetup featuring Mary May on May 21st at 7 p.m. a respected New Jersey folk artist renowned for her expertise, in traditional New Jersey basket weaving. The meetup will be held at 15 8th Street, Hammonton. The Game Horse Association of New Jersey will be holding their 2025 season kickoff show on Sunday, May 18th in Buna. Shows are open to riders of all ages and experience levels, with a welcoming atmosphere that's perfect for learning, growing, and having a blast. More information on all events can be found online.
So, guys, let's just suspend reality for a minute. Let's imagine there's a battle, and this is our oddball question of the week. Who wins in a fight, the Jersey Devil or Bigfoot? Which of these, what's the word, Joe? Cryptid characters?
Cryptids. Yes, not characters, cryptids. That's what they're called. They're cryptids.
Which of these cryptids wins, in your opinion?
I
I'm going to go
have
to
a
Gabe
question.
first. Gabe, go.
My question first is this: how did Bigfoot get to the Pinelands?
He
I
hopped in the
just want to know
car with
if
John
Bigfoot
Lithgow and came all the way here.
is Bigfoot winded already
Boy,
because
my arms are tired. Like that joke? Is that what you're
he's
doing?
gone across country to the Pine Barrens from his normal
He just
habitat
spent a
in the
weekend
Pacific Northwest.
at the Martin, and
Oh,
so
I see.
all well rested. So he's
He's
ready
well
for a
rested.
battle.
I still think I'm going to say Jersey Devil, home field advantage. He knows the territory, knows the woods. I would give it to the Jersey Devil.
Yeah,
Joe?
I would agree. At least according to the documentary Harry and the Hendersons, he's a pretty docile fellow, Bigfoot. So either one of you see that, Harry and the
Yeah,
No?
No, I missed that
Lithgow.
documentary.
Oh yeah, John Lithgow is a fantastic documentary.
It's no Friday the 13th.
It is not, no. But Bigfoot is fairly docile, whereas when you're talking about the aforementioned 13th child, who was the spawn of Satan, he's got the whole diabolical supernatural thing going for him, number one. Number two, depending on which eyewitness reports that you've got, including, I believe, Napoleon Bonaparte's nephew, claimed once to have seen the Jersey Devil. Look it
You
up.
know who Napoleon Bonaparte's nephew is?
I don't know his name, but I want to say Joseph. And also one
This
of
cockamamie.
my great
He saw the Jersey Devil.
yes.
Did he tell the Jersey Devil to eat their damn ham?
No, but also
That's
my great
Napoleon Dynamite.
my great grandmother's brother-in-law was the caretaker of the Wharton Mansion for a while, Bozarth, and he made papers because he also saw the Jersey Devil. And according to reports, it's got talons either like an eagle or a chicken, weird head, maybe like a horse or a donkey, but they all agree on wings, bat wings. So you're talking about this supernatural creature with talons that can fly, make quick work of poor Bigfoot. Sasquatch doesn't stand a chance.
According to AmericanFolklore.net, Joseph Bonaparte, the brother of Napoleon, was the king of Spain. And let's see here. One snowy afternoon, the ex-king of Spain was hunting alone in the woods near his house because he went to exile here in America. When he spotted some strange tracks on the ground, they looked like the tracks of a two-footed donkey. Bonaparte noticed that one foot was slightly larger than the other. He heard a hissing sound. Turning, he found himself face to face with a large winged creature with horse-like head and bird-like legs. Astonished and frightened, he froze and stared at the beast, forgetting that he was carrying a rifle. Then the creature hissed at him, beat his wings, and flew away.
Where are you reading from?
This is from AmericanFolklore.net. When he reported the incident to a friend later that day, Bonaparte was told that he had just seen the famous Jersey Devil, who had haunted the Pine Barrens ever since he was born to Mother Leeds one dark and stormy night in 1735. And this all allegedly happened in 1813. Now, you both say you're taking the Jersey Devil. And I think that's because you guys are Jersey
Absolutely.
boys. I am going to go with my good friend Bigfoot, and I'm going to tell you why. He is known for stalking, and I think he will stalk him and catch him unaware, the Jersey Devil. So my money is that one night, maybe they're on 206, and boom, Bigfoot can take down the Jersey Devil.
The Jersey Devil can fly away. How will Bigfoot deal with that?
You don't know. We'll see what
I
happens.
don't.
I'm
I
saying
do
I'll
know.
go for the underdog.
I
Okay.
sooner believe that Napoleon Dynamite was involved with this somehow than I do that Bigfoot will beat the Jersey Devil. Like people, all Jersey oddballs just has a way of always winning. And you know why? Because the Jersey Devil fights dirty. That's why.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god. I suggest maybe we should build a fence then to keep out Bigfoot and the Jersey Devil. And Joe, who should we call when we want to build a fence?
If you're going to build a fence to keep out Bigfoot, I don't know if one will keep out a creature that can fly, but absolutely there's no other person to call than no other company to call than Master Wire Fence. For more than 40 years, Master Wire Manufacturing Fence Company has been providing the South Jersey and tri-state area with residential and commercial fence supplies and services. Whether you're looking for quality products that do it yourself or are in need of a trustworthy fencing company to just install your fence to keep out Bigfoot, they've got you covered. Master Wire Manufacturing Fence Company provides the highest quality products and customer service to each and every person who walks through their doors or gives them a call. Contact Master Wire at 609 567 1616 or visit their website at masterwirefence.net.
Thanks, Joe. I was in Holy Cemetery this past weekend for my father's inurnment. I want to make sure I got the word right. And I noticed there
You
was a
got it.
large group of volunteers putting flags out on the graves ahead of Memorial Day. Joe, did you happen to catch up with John DeLuca to find out what Hammonton is doing for Memorial Day?
Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, it was during that same day, they call it Operation Flag Drop, where they put out more than 1,800 flags in the 3 cemeteries.
That's amazing.
According to our buddy John, on Memorial Day, May 26th, it'll begin with a parade. The parade will begin to line up on Egg Harbor Road at 10 a.m. The parade will then begin at 10:30 and make its way down Bellevue Avenue, concluding at Hammonton Veterans Memorial Park. Now, the Grand Marshal for the parade, and this is cool, will be U.S. Army veteran George Capuccio, who just turned 104 in February. Capuccio, one of, if not the last surviving World War II veterans in town, served in the infantry from October of 42 to October of 45, including the Battle of Monte Cassino, which went from January to May of 44. So that's cool that George is coming out for this. And I don't know if either one of you know him, but George is also one of the nicest people in town. Now, the ceremony itself will take place at the conclusion of the parade and will feature several speakers, including Councilman Tom Gribben, the town's deputy mayor, Atlantic County Commissioner James Bertino, and Atlantic County Clerk Joe Girallo. So that's what's going on in town on Memorial Day.
It's always a beautiful ceremony. I wish there were about 500 more people there, but it's always nicely done. Memorial Day is not about barbecues and a day off from school and work. It is a day of
No.
remembrance, and I think Hammonton really has always done that very well.
Yes,
And
and it's a good opportunity for to try and get 500 people out if the weather's nice, and maybe even if it isn't. It's a beautiful setting between the Methodist and Presbyterian churches on Bellevue Avenue, and it would
shady.
be nice. It would be nice to put the word out there to everybody listening and watching that take some time and come down to downtown Hamilton and remember those who gave everything for their country,
Yeah.
our country.
New Jersey is getting ready for its gubernatorial election this November, and we still don't know who's running for each party. And their primary is coming up, I believe it is June 10th. There are still a million candidates on both sides. The Republican candidates include John Bramnick, Jack Ciattarelli, Bill Spadea, Justin Barbara, Hans Herberg, Mario Kranjak, I think are all still running. Ed Durr dropped out of the race earlier this year and endorsed Spadea. And according to public reports, there are 6 candidates running on the Democratic side in the primary for the New Jersey governorship. And those candidates are Roz Baraka, Steve Phillip, Josh Gottheimer, Mikey or Mickey Sherrill, Sean Spiller, and Stephen Sweeney. I only really know of those candidates, Stephen Sweeney and Steve Phillip.
Hmm.
It's just I don't have enough information on them, and I feel like I'm not seeing it enough. I just see ads, but not information about these candidates.
Yeah,
Either
I
side.
Yeah, the only ones on the Republican side that I've seen Jack Ciattarelli, because he's been all around town and he ran and almost took the race 4 years ago. I know a little bit about Bill. I don't know how to say his last name.
Spadia.
I had that all the
Oh,
way
from
wrong.
the
So
radio.
my apologies. And Steve Sweeney, yeah, Sean Spiller, I've seen a lot on him. And Raz Baraka's been in the news recently because of all of that flap in Newark. But beyond that, I know nothing about him.
Yeah,
One thing I can tell you that we're seeing is intensity from both sides that I haven't seen maybe in my lifetime. And I understand the ball's up in the air, but I could use a little less with the rhetoric and the intensity. And I'm a fighter, and I'm battling for you. Every candidate seems to want to have that out there. I'd rather see more on the issues in the advertising. And I agree with Gina. Rather see more coverage of what the platforms are for each of these candidates. We're not seeing enough information about each one yet. And it's already, we're in the primary season here. So hopefully we'll see some changes. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I just don't feel like we're getting the meat. I think we're just getting the sizzle, not the steak.
I think that's
that is so
been,
old school.
but it works. And I think that's been a trend with elections, at least not so much on the local level, but on the state and federal level for the last several election cycles. The sizzle seems to sell, even if it's sizzling. That's going
Yeah,
old school.
That's
that's
Um,
very old school.
yeah,
it's almost like steakums. Oh,
don't knock steakums.
knock them. I'm just
Okay,
citing it.
they're tasty and delicious, but
Yeah, so it's Elio's Pizza. Go ahead.
it is. But that's what sells. And if you look at many of the winners, you don't know much about them until after they've won, other than they are a fighter who is going to fight for you, and they're the only one who is going to fight for you. When like those candidates who seem to focus on issues on either side of the aisle get drowned out by the rest of that rhetoric, when really it's the issues that matter, but
Yeah,
they don't
and I
seem
just
to
don't think
grab
we know
grab
what they are,
attention.
and we don't have enough information. And unfortunately, the way journalism is now, no one's doing that deep dive, that homework level
Yeah,
that we could
I don't even
have.
think we need a deep dive. I'd settle for candidate profiles that have, like, who are their spouses? What do they do for a living? What is their platform? I
yeah,
mean, I don't even need investigative reporting. I just need reporting.
Yeah,
So this
yeah,
is a call out there to all what's left of legacy media and even online. Could you please let us know who these people are who are running for governor? It would be great to know.
yeah, take
yeah,
out
and
the
it's
ads. Let us
Yeah,
know who they are.
let's have some reporting.
yeah, and it's great that they're fighting for us, but how are they going to do that? How are they going to achieve? Yes, you're marching into battle. What's your battle plan? Just
Get
tell
it.
me what that is. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm going to lower taxes. How are you going to do that? What is the
yeah,
plan? How are you
Right.
going to keep services high? How are you going to fix New Jersey's roads? What is the how are you getting there? Don't just tell me what the wish list is. What is the plan and what are your credentials to get us there?
yeah,
And I think that's what's been missing lately. And I really don't know on June 10th when I walk into the primary who I'm voting for at this point, which is the first for me to say only less than a month away from the election. That I
yeah,
don't know who I'm voting for in a primary. No.
But I think that's again a failure of the imagination of our journalistic institutions. And I think they still have time to do the right thing and inform the public before the vote.
Now, Gabe,
Hold
can
on,
you tell
hold
us
on.
about another one of our great sponsors?
I sure can. Demiglio Septic and Quality Sanitation are here for a variety of services, including septic pump out, grease trap service, high pressure jetting, portable toilets, and more. Call 609 561 3597 or go to demiglioseptic.com for Demiglio Septic or call 609 561 4666 for quality sanitation. Experience the Demiglio difference, a promise of superior service, quality, and reliability.
Thanks, Gabe. We always talk about how this side of Atlantic County is really into the arts. We just had the Teen Arts Festival. On the other side of the spectrum is the 45th annual Senior Art Show that is being organized by Atlantic County. The juried show will be exhibited from June 9th through July 31st at the Atlantic Cape Community College Art Gallery, Building D, at 5100 Black Horse Pike in Mays Landing. There will be a closing reception held on June 31st at 1 p.m. Atlantic County is going to showcase the creative abilities of county residents ages 60 and older at this show. Entries are going to be accepted at the Atlantic Cape Community Art Gallery on May 27th through the 30th between 10 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. All artwork must be properly labeled and ready to hang with standard wire. All pieces will remain on display for the full duration of the exhibit. Guidelines and artwork labels are available on the county website. There will be a monetary prize of $100 that will be presented to each first place winner, and this will be given by the Atlantic County Division of Intergenerational Services. And the categories include acrylic, craft, digital art, mixed media, oil painting, pastels, print, photography, sculpture, watercolor, and works on paper. And then those winning entries are going to go to a state competition. I just think this is something very special. We're really embracing the arts, and we've seen some of the great work that the Hammonton Arts Center has done. I would like to see some Hammonton people and people from this side of the county participating. Egg Harbor City, Mullica, Folsom, Hammonton, Buna. Let's get out there.
And it's
Yeah.
great to see such a wide range of over the course of these different events, teen arts, seniors, everywhere in between. If you go to the Noise Museum, you'll see different, whether it's in Hammonton or down in Atlantic City. It's amazing to see how much the arts community has increased in the last 25 years in Atlantic County. And that's a credit to a lot of people, but I think it's great to see the artists being showcased.
Yeah, and Atlantic Cape's Art Gallery is a very nice space. Very
I've
nice
never been.
space.
It's a good size.
Yeah,
We should go. We should go.
Hopefully, we'll see somebody from Hammonton who does well and advances. In odd news, I happened to look up and find out that New Jersey State House is the second oldest one still in use, just behind Maryland's. And I was like, that's cool. Like our state house, which has been recently revitalized, a lot of effort has gone into that, is the second oldest one in the country. Obviously, some of our states are newer. For the 13 original colonies, we got the second oldest state house, and I think that's special.
Is the oldest one in Annapolis then? Maryland's state capital is
would
right
make
in
sense.
Annapolis.
Yeah.
If that's where their state capital is, then yes.
I just think about Trenton as another Revolutionary War era city, and Annapolis it goes back a long way, so it stands to reason. I've been in the state house. You've been in the state house, Joe. Have you ever been?
Oh, yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
pretty amazing building. It's huge.
Yeah, I think every fourth grade or fifth grade class takes a trip there first and foremost. And then I remember we were there for Mini Model Congress when I was in middle school. Been to the State House a few times.
That's great.
Who was your fourth grade teacher, Joe?
Nancy Ruberton.
Gabe, who was your fourth grade teacher?
Nancy Ruberton.
Really?
Whose sons own Rocco's Townhouse, and we get to see her
That's
every
correct.
now and then there.
Now, just so you know, we didn't know that.
No, I had no idea.
No, 4-4
Yeah.
was that the
Yes.
number? For
Yes,
you?
it was
Yeah,
4-4.
4-4.
And,
We're
and
true 4-4 Nancy Ruberton alumni.
yeah,
And yes,
I'll
just
never
saw her.
forget
She looks
when
great.
in my fourth grade year, she had gone on vacation for a little bit around December. And so Jack Vaughn came in as a long-term substitute. Do you remember Mr. Vaughn?
My brother John had Mr. Vaughn.
Yeah.
Fifth grade.
Yeah,
He's a tough guy.
Very tough.
Different approach.
Very tough guy. When he walked in, none of us, we were, 9 years old, and here comes in this man, looked like he just got done
Stepped
hanging out
off
with
the
Arlie
destroyer.
Ermey.
He was from the Navy. He was a Navy
Yeah.
guy.
Taught us all about Pearl Harbor, made us write a paper on it, and by the time he was ready to leave, we didn't want him to leave because we loved him. Now, we were happy when Mrs. Ruberton came back, but
I bet.
yeah.
Did you learn the fourth grade New Jersey curriculum? What's the state bird of New Jersey, Joe?
I'm sure that I learned that, 35 years ago,
It
but
was the goldfinch.
I was going to say it
The
escaped me
goldfinch.
now. We have those at Oakgrove Cemetery.
You have goldfinches that don't go. But
Yes,
you learned about the Lenape Indians and all that. There's a
all of that. Yeah.
fourth grade. You learned about New Jersey
Yes.
history back then in elementary school. I'm sure
You
that's
still
been
do.
replaced.
No,
I don't know. It's been replaced. I fear it's been replaced by learning on an iPad,
No, they still do fourth grade New Jersey
like
stuff.
yeah.
Angry Birds.
They
Oh
they
yeah, do they do the play? They do a little play.
I don't know if they do the play, but I know that they learn about New Jersey history because
Oh,
that was another field trip at the cemetery. The fourth grade came to visit the Salem Oak because it tied in with Lenape history.
that has restored my faith in public education. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Joe, if we want to take a ride to the state capitol to see the second oldest state capitol building in the country, or if we wanted to go birding in Oak Grove Cemetery this week, what will the weather be?
Gina, that depends on the day, but since you asked, I suppose that means it's time for the Oddcast forecast, according to the app on my smartphone, and sponsored by Ben Castone Landscaping. Call Ben Castone for all your landscaping needs at 609 561 3452. They're here to keep your yard looking great no matter what the season. Wednesday's a little iffy. There's a 53% chance of rain. A high is 70 and a low of 59, so it'll be nice and seasonal. On Thursday, there's another chance of rain, thunder showers, and then cloudy later in the day, a high of 76 and a low of 62. And on Friday, it looks to be clear during the day with a possibility of storms at night, with a high of 84 and a low of 65.
I hope we have good weather for cruising Main Street on Friday, May 16th. I really do. It's such a great event.
Absolutely.
And the
Yeah.
concert.
That's Saturday, May 17th. Yeah.
That'll be the next day.
Both days. Both days.
Yeah. Well, this has been another great episode. Stay weird and stay with us. New episodes drop weekly, and we've got hot air and cold facts. Subscribe, share, and let's make odd mainstream. See you next week, oddballs. Take care.